what are we hearing as consultancy in the market, right? So we've been having conversations with organizations, a lot of in the utilities industry, but also across other industries as well, like manufacturers, councils, and also retailers as well. And some of the recurring common pain points is a lot of the organizations have still fragmented systems, right? So there's that, there's assets in one system and there's the work orders in another system. That systems are not talking with each other. The customer is calling in. We've seen organizations which have multiple different tools of where they get work orders out into the field. A lot of organizations have internal services teams, but also external contractors. So as a business, how do you actually create that sort of single point of view about your cost, about the priority, and how effectively you actually manage your assets and your field services requests? Which leads to the second point, is outdated. A lot of organizations, and I think that's a common challenge, not only in field services, but across, the infrastructure, technology infrastructure set. We see a lot of organizations, they struggle to catch up modernizing their tool sets with the latest cloud capabilities available. And with that, it's like, well, we fall behind in various different areas, which also limits the ability to really drive efficiency and cost-effective business processes into the organization, which leads perfectly to the next point. It's the inefficient, the siloed knowledge. Sometimes teams work in isolation, specifically if you also engage with external contractors. Another really good example for what we've discussed today in the room is the reluctancy to change. We know that often field service technicians, they are not very keen to adapt new technologies, or some people don't even have a smartphone and don't want to use a smartphone for work anyway because they're worried they're being tracked down. And then the whole idea that they're being told exactly where to go, how long they're meant to take for a job, and then make photos and send it back to the head office can be daunting for individuals, and then a challenge for organizations of how to manage it. And then we also deal on the other side with empowered customers, right? It's just 2 clicks away and you can share your frustrations on Facebook or Twitter or any local groups. And specifically organizations in the public sector, there's a lot of pressure to make sure, we deliver proper services to our customers and close that engagement loop. Just another discussion we had here in the room as well. So we see all of those topics, out in the industries, which, are pressure points for organizations. Everyone has slightly different ones. I also wanted to very quickly give a bit of a context of where we believe field services sits, right? Field service is a perfect solution which you can work in isolation, right? Where you literally just go and take the work order and you manage your field team. Whether it's 30 or 300, or another customer here, I think, has over 1,000 field services members to really optimize those field runs. That's an option. But then where we think it gets really interesting is actually if you zoom out of that one-step business process and look at the sort of the connecting process steps, right? From the asset management here at the bottom, so you have scheduled maintenance jobs for utilities, often that's about 80% of the workforce, to then driving into that smart operations to say, well, from an asset management point of view, right, do I really need to go there every 3 months to check whether the oil needs changing or something needs fixing, or can I actually start using past field services records and see, maybe I can stretch it out to 4 months or 5 months. Inventory management is another thing, right? If the field team is out on the road and they need spare parts, what do they have with them in the van? What's in which warehouse, or what's in no warehouse, and they actually need to order it, and what alternatives there are. Then we also think the financial side is really important. If you do run a larger field organization and have a lot of assets, then it comes down to how smart is an organization with working all of that. Project management, in some cases, field service is actually used in correlation with project management. And then, of course, the whole finance, HCM and procurement side, HR, right, field services, so you send people out, shift works, availabilities, skill sets, personal preferences, and all of that comes into play as well. So without further ado, we are aiming to walk through a typical user journey. Alf will start guiding you through around the first view, which is the view of the scheduler dispatcher, right? So you get your scheduled work orders in, and what do you see in the system, and then we look at also the technician view if you're out in the field and how this looks like. Yeah, sounds good. So with that, I hand over to Alf. Maybe Alf, if you want to screen share from here.
I'll screen share. I'll still use your
yes, audio. Yes, my audio, and yeah, I think that I'll just move over to here. That usually should pick it up just fine. And if there's any questions, we've allowed about 15 minutes in the end to have a bit of a debate. So if there's any questions, maybe you can raise them then, and if we run out of time, we can follow up after the fact.
Excellent. Thanks, Anita. Hi, everyone. Nice to be with you all. And thanks to everyone who's joining us in person in the room as well. Just for the benefit of everyone. So today's next 30, 40 minutes will be more of an overview, just to give you a teaser of what the product's capabilities are, the really differentiating points between the Oracle Field Services vis-a-vis its competition in the market, and where Oracle Field Services really shines, how Oracle Field Services plugs in within the bigger ecosystem of the Oracle Fusion platform. Anita mentioned that Oracle Field Services can work standalone, which is really a key point, because you may not want to onboard everything into Oracle just yet. But Oracle Field Services is a nice little standalone product that you can implement, then which nicely integrates out of the box with other parts of the Oracle Fusion platform. So today's session is more of an overview. We'll still touch upon some of the latest features from the latest two quarter releases that we have. And we have got some power users in the room, so not to disappoint them, because they have been using these products extensively. Yeah, really happy with the experience so far. So what you see on the screen is basically the back office view, right? So typically, you have the obvious field technicians who go out and about their day, looking at fixing either a preventive or a break fix, right? So that is one cohort, and who typically use either a mobile device or a toughbook or an Apple iPad. We also have organizations where you also have roving field managers who are not necessarily are tools on the job, if you like, but they are still sort of moving between sites, making sure all the field operations are ticking along nicely. And we typically see that in the telecom sector. So that's the second cohort. The third cohort, which is the back office operational people who are your typical dispatchers or schedulers, right? So these are the three cohorts, and all these three cohorts are well served by what you get within this platform, right? So it's just one single platform that serves all these three cohorts. And what you see is on the screen now is your, if you like, the bird's eye view of your organizational operations that you see on the side. So if you can see my sort of mouse point moving around on the left. So we've got this dummy organization, a power company called Suprema Power. And again, we can categorize the operations in whatever manner that we make sense for your business operations, right? It could be based on geographical locations, it could be based on teams, it could be based on capabilities, right? So we can have those individual categorization of work buckets, if you like. Underneath that, again, this is a demo instance, so apologies if it's not Australia specific, but it's you can see Florida as an operational team here. And underneath Florida, you have all these sort of resources, field technicians, who are out and about in the field doing their day-to-day activities. So again, this for the dispatcher or the people at the back of the base, it gives you one single sort of bird's eye view in a single page of what is actually happening. And it's nicely color-coded, purely because we want to know what is actually happening. and what needs intervention. Now, the real differentiation between Oracle Field Services and other products in the market is most of the operations that we see in terms of the legacy is you are manually scheduling these resources, right? Either from an Excel sheet or even if you got a field services solution, there are manually people sitting and dragging and dropping these jobs that's coming in from your asset systems or maintenance systems or from your CRM, right? So there's a lot of manual scheduling work that typically happens in the industry. Now, the key differentiation with Oracle Field Services is Oracle Field Services is built using artificial intelligence and machine learning from ground up, right? Before sort of Gen AI became a buzzword, we had a machine learning algorithm already built into this product right from the get-go. So the system does all the heavy grunt work of lifting and assigning these jobs to the various technicians automatically. So you might be wondering, like, how did we even populate all these jobs for these like 14, 15 different technicians for Tuesday, right? So again, it's Tuesday in the US, so apologies, it says Tuesday here. So we'll showcase how the system automatically can fill up a day's worth of jobs for people, or even a week's worth of jobs or month's worth of jobs. It really can go up to all the way up to close to I think close to 3 years worth of jobs can be forward allocated in people's calendars.
So they would come from an asset management tool, right, which have scheduled.
Correct, yeah.
Scheduled work orders attached to them, which are being uploaded into field services. And then the tool will combine it with the team, the skill sets, the preferences, and automatically come up with this is the schedule. That's right.
So field service, Oracle Field Services, and that's an important point that Anita is raising, right? It's really a field execution tool. It's not your assets management tool. It's a field execution tool, meaning it needs to be told it needs to be given the activities that needs to be executed on the field, right? And that typically comes from if you're running an asset intensive operations, you'll probably have an assets and maintenance system. You'll have a preventative maintenance regime, which generates preventative maintenance programs, and you have these regular preventative maintenance jobs that needs to be done. And plus, you might also have some break fixes that might be coming from a customer complaint, right? From your CRM system, people might be ringing up and saying, we've got a broken pipe, or we got a gas leak, or we've got a telephone pit that's been broken. So Oracle Field Services gets all these activities either from your preventative maintenance work system or from your CRM, and then using routing functionality, which we'll showcase in a second, it'll allocate all these jobs, taking into account people's shift patterns, people's work skills, their compliance requirements, their geographical location. So there's about 13 different parameters that the system intelligently utilizes to allocate these jobs.
Let me ask a few questions.
Yeah, sure.
What about, you are in an area which has to cover quite a large geographical area, and your field workers are actually not around the head office, but are spread out, and they have the van with them at their house. Can the tool automatically kick them off with wherever they are?
Yeah, so
they consider someone's location?
Yes, absolutely. So the field technicians will be using a mobile app, which we'll showcase in a second. So the mobile app is constantly sending you location information. So we know from a geographical location where your field staff are. And based on their current location, system intelligently, it doesn't send you somebody who's in the northern suburbs of Melbourne to a job in the southern suburbs, right? So it intelligently makes sure that the resource allocation is optimized, the travel is optimized. Again, what you get out of the box is Oracle's street level routing capability. So it takes into account your traffic conditions, your one ways, your detours that's happening, and all that is baked into when the actual schedule is built out. Or even if when an emergency job comes in, you'll automatically factor that into account so that the emergency job gets priority based on real life traffic conditions.
Can we play it through? Could you show us how that works?
Yeah, absolutely.
So for example, this is my perfect day. My team's out in the field. Something happens. I'm the scheduler and now got to deal with an emergency job.
Okay.
Must take priority over what's already been scheduled.
Okay, let's look at a couple of things, right? Let's show up how Wednesday gets populated, or let's say Thursday, right? So Thursday currently looks like empty, right? There's nothing happening for those 14 resources. They're all free, right? But that's not the reality of the situation. The reality of the situation is, if I can just split screens here, I can show you down below. There's about 320 jobs that needs to be allocated. I mean, these are unscheduled jobs, so you can allocate it. Or it could be even for Thursday, if I just go on to Thursday. Right, so there are about 287 jobs that is waiting to be done on Thursday, but again, Thursday looks sort of free from the top view, right? So again, there is two ways to do it. One, you can do the less efficient way of sitting there and dragging and dropping these jobs to those individual resources, which is not really a good usage of anyone's time.
No.
Or you could use what is called as the routing engine, which is again utilizes machine learning and those 13 different parameters that we talked about, and it basically does the job for you, right? So you don't have to manually sit and do it. So if I can just quickly show, again, without leaving the screen, you basically click on this particular button here, and let's say I do a bulk routing run, right? So what it does is the system goes away in the background, and because it's a demo instance, it'll take a few seconds, but normally it takes maybe for about 200-300 jobs, takes about a few seconds to sort of allocate all these jobs to these various peoples. And the way it allocates, and while it's sort of taking away in the background, I just really need to highlight a couple of keys capabilities here, Anita. So the system is a constantly learning system, right? It's constantly learning using about a week or sort of 10 days worth of production data. So once you go live, within a matter of 2 weeks, the system has constantly built a profile for every individual person, how long it takes for, I don't know, a physical sewer job, or a connection or a meter and a disconnect and things like that. So it's like an ongoing time and motion study where the system is automatically creating a profile for an individual person. It's creating a profile for the individual bucket. It's creating a profile within the organizational context, right?
So can I play that back?
Yeah.
So basically we're saying, because you're so much, you're a field technician since 30 years, you know your stuff, you get sent to a job, you get it done in 35 minutes.
Yep.
Versus a junior may take an hour.
Correct.
So the system is self-learning.
That's right.
Who's picking up the job, the average time spent, depending on who does the job, and automatically adjusts the planning.
Correct.
Yeah?
And automatically allocates the right person, right?
Yeah.
So if a certain job wants, like say, a plumber with a certain amount of competency levels, then we can really, make it granular so that you don't send a junior plumber, you send a senior plumber, right? The system automatically factors into account all the needs of the actual job that's at hand, also the reality of people's competency levels, and automatically allocates these jobs to them.
Okay.
It's still ticking away in the background. Let's give it a few seconds. Again, while it's ticking away in the background, I also wanted to quickly sort of talk about the emergency situation that you talked about. So we might have had a Thursday filled in with all the jobs, and an emergency and a burst pipe job that comes in, right? Again, we can have a dispatcher sitting there and dragging and dropping these emergency jobs because he's got the knowledge of who's the best resource that needs to do the job. Or we can tell the system, based on these conditions, now these are my preferred resources, right? So again, if you've got preferred resources who are best suited for an emergency situation, system automatically factors that, and then it automatically allocates this emergency job. As and when it comes in, the routing automatically kicks in, an emergency routing plan automatically kicks in, and it basically allocates this emergency job to the right location. And that is one way to do it. The other way is we can also broadcast this emergency job using a collaboration suite that's part of the product, where it basically sends out these job to various people who might be eligible, and who has got the fastest finger takes it.
For example,
Yeah.
you know, it's the end of the day, everyone is finishing their shift, but there's something else coming.
Yep.
So I broadcasted and asked the team, hey, there's an extra work order come in. Does anyone want to pick it up?
Yeah,
right.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah. Again, the whole point of this is it's a self-contained tool. You don't have to pick up a phone. You don't have to, make sure, the right people are, or so you got everything within the tool itself.
So what are we seeing here now?
Okay. So what are we seeing here is just a quick summary of what has actually happened. Again, because it's demo instance, it's taken about close to a 3-minute session, but in a production setting, it's normally under a minute, depending on the volume of jobs. Again, we are looking at what the system has done. Again, the dollar figure, take it with a pinch of salt. Again, it's basically telling you that it is tried to optimize the resource allocation, the travel allocation, and how much time it has basically saved vis-a-vis if you had to do it on your own, right? So that's what this particular sort of the metrics are showing. You also get a detailed report of all those 300 jobs. Who's got these jobs allocated based on sort of what conditions and things like that. You can also compare this routing run with other previous runs, right? So you don't have to take what the system has done for you. You always can click on roll back, and you can go back to a cleaner slate, and you can run again, change parameters, tweak parameters, and you can compare, and then you can sort of finalize what you like.
Can you show me very quickly, so if an emergency job comes in, you dragged it into how the schedule adjusts for the person?
Yeah. Okay. So before we show the emergency job, so this is the result of the routing run, right? So what was an empty Thursday now looks like a busy Thursday for your field people, right? And you can also see there are some people who are on call, right? So this is the shifts that we can manage. Okay, so we talk about an emergency job. Let me show you a job that is an emergency job that is sitting, waiting on its wing. So this particular corrective maintenance job is an emergency job, and how we define what is an emergency job is up to us, right? So again, I define this particular job as an emergency job when a customer service agent makes this, severity field as critical, right? Again, we can define what a critical job is, but again, for the intents of today's demo, I'm making this as a critical job. So that is sitting there, and the reason why it's sitting there, not already allocated, is I have disabled what is called as the immediate routing run, right? So I've got the, let me quickly show you from this particular screen. Let's go into this particular routing screen, which is a bit more detailed screen. So I've got this urgent routing run that is disabled. So once I enable it, once I activate it, so again, this in a normal production setting, this will be active. This will be automatically waiting for any emergency jobs that could come in. And once it's run, which you can see in a second. Okay, so that's, let's have a look at that's run. So the demo instance can be a bit fidgety at times. So let's quickly like this of a critical.
And I think one of the key things is you just can manually drag and drop it up, and the schedule automatically adjusts.
Correct. Yeah.
So you can just.
So now it's gone, right? So the emergency job is now allocated. I think one of the yellows are emergency jobs, I think. So it's automatically gets allocated, and the system automatically readjusts based on the emergency job, pushes some jobs out. And when it pushes some jobs out, when we are really jeopardizing what you have committed to the customer in terms of SLAs and things like that, the color automatically changes to a configurable color, in this case, pink salmon color, and it basically says service window can be lost, right? So it gives you a clear indication of the impact or the consequence of your actions. Yeah.
So I'm a scheduler. I want to see where all my stuff is. So on a map, is this possible for me to see what every technician's route is for the day? And
Yeah.
Have a very quick look at that.
Absolutely. So yeah. So can you see here? So that's the emergency job that we are talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Exclamation mark that now got squeezed into Norman's day, and because of that, a couple of Norman's jobs have been pushed out. Right. So so this is one view. This is sort of the time-based view. Now we also have got a list view, which basically gives you all this information in a lot more detailed sense. Then we also have a spatial view, right? So this is what the question that you're asking, Anita. So I want to know where all my technicians are and what is happening in the field, right? So if I can just drag again, let's drill into Kelly. Now this is Kelly's day in a spatial format, right? So it basically tells the dispatcher all Kelly's jobs for the day with its appropriate color coding. So Kelly is currently in job H, which is color coded as green. She has finished all these ABC jobs, which are color coded in blue. And the real power of this particular spatial view is not only you're getting a spatial understanding of where your resources are, but the system will also plot when they deviate from the prescribed route, right? Again, not to be a big brother or anything like that. It basically tells you from a health and safety point of view, if everything is okay for that resource, right? So the resource is in that location for 2 hours when they're supposed to be only for half an hour.
Check in on them to see if something is wrong.
Right, that's right.
Got bitten by a dog or fell down somewhere.
Broken down.
Yeah.
Or attacked by an angry customer.
Security safety thing, yeah. Okay.
And then again, you can reach out to the without leaving the screen, you can reach out to Kelly and say, "Hi, Kelly, is everything okay?" So this is the collaboration suite we were referring to. Again, it's a really a powerful tool where the dispatchers are sort of empowered in terms of what is happening in the real life. The technicians are empowered in terms of the knowledge base and everything that we can showcase in a second. And the managers know what is actually happening in the field through the metrics that they track.
What about things like workload forecasting? And then reporting, sort of just the, because the workload forecasting is sort of a...
Yeah, we are now going into the managerial territory, right? So in addition to the operational people, the managers might want to know, okay, how does my load or the demand going to look like based on historical conditions? I'm coming up to a hurricane season. I might have lots of trees fallen down and things like that. We might have a lot of technicians being sent out. So demand typically spikes up. So what is the interventions that I need to take for such eventualities, right? So that's where, again, system automatically gives you built-in a forecasting module. So based on past conditions, system automatically tells you how many resources you've got, how many of them have been booked, and how much it is, so you've got a forecasted workload slightly higher up, and then you can basically, plan for interventions such as bringing on casuals or contingent workers, or, enable extra shifts and things like that. So it's really powerful in the sense that it's very data driven, where you can plan ahead for your demand as well. And you talked about reporting before. Sorry, before I forget. You talked about reporting, Anita. Again, the system automatically gives you a whole heap of, I think, about 40 odd reports, typical sort of metrics that we can expect in a field service sort of situation. Again, you can create your own dashboards, which I've created here. So I've got a dashboard here with some of the reports that I'm interested typically as a manager to look at in terms of my productivity, my team's productivity, the number of activities that you can squeeze in, the average travel time and things like that. Again, you can add more reports into this dashboard. Again, having said that, if you are sort of if you feel a bit constrained with the out-of-the-box reports that you get out of field services, Oracle also gives you another tool called as Fusion Data Intelligence Platform, which sort of gives you the ability to sort of build your own reports, and it's a lot more powerful, right? It works across the. That's right. You can embed those reports into the field services as well. So you can embed any report, right? You can bring in your own BI reports into this platform as well.
If you look at asset management and field services within, in supply chain, like there's multiple things you can actually bring together. What about the technician's view? So, the tool is not only for management, but also for the field service workers. So how practical is it? Can it use any device? Is it restricted for any device? Like, what's the look and feel?
Yeah. So this is the technician's view. Again,
Sorry, can you share the halls?
Make it bigger, you mean?
Yeah.
Make it big?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the technician's view of the world. Again, I've just logged into the browser, but again, you got a native iOS for your Apple users, iOS app, as well as an Android app, which is part of your license. Again, just for the demo purposes, because the mobile screen can be really small, and we thought we'll probably showcase the technician's view of the world from a browser. Again, this is Kelly's view of the world, if you like, for today, for Tuesday, right? So it gives you the list of all the activities that she's got for today. Again, she's currently working on this particular activity. She's already started it. Again, going into the activity, you can see some service information, some customer information. Again, all this data needs to be given to field services, right? So field services is the, if you like, a receiving system. So it will typically come from your CRM or from your enterprise assets management system. You can sort of bring in asset history. Again, if you got other Oracle Fusion products, such as Oracle Supply Chain or Oracle ERP, we talked about Oracle projects. They all natively work with Oracle Fusion's field services, right? So let's say you already have Oracle HR, right? In addition to Oracle field services being self-sufficient, where you can manage your resources, their skill sets and things like that, you can also make your HR, which is typically your single source of truth of all your resources and all their compliance and skills and things like that. And it works natively with Oracle Fusion services. Same thing, you can bring in your spare parts, your inventory, consumables from Oracle Fusion inventory into Fusion field services using Oracle Integration Cloud. The exciting feature about sort of 25A and 25D, and what we are seeing progressively, that Oracle heavily investing through R&D, is they are slowly integrating these two sort of systems without the need for any middleware, right? So Oracle projects, Oracle HCM, Oracle inventory, Oracle service logistics, everything works using the same data model without needing an integration platform.
So for this view now, so if we just come back here to a little bit, so I'm a field technician, right? 7 o'clock in the morning, I drink my coffee, check where I need to go. I hit the road. I arrive at my first asset, which happens to be building side with a big lock. I don't know how to get in. Can I, and look, there's no instructions. How can I interact, let's say, with my supervisor or my scheduler? I mean, the good easy way is probably just to give them a phone call, but it's their chat function, right? For example.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So you don't have to pick up your phone is basically the answer. You get everything within the system. Let's look at a couple of these activities, right? So these are all the activities.
Yes.
And I've deliberately made a slight difference between these two activities. So when I go into this particular activity, you can see there's enough information. And let's say she's struggling, like she's a new resource. She wants to know a bit more about some of the things that she's struggling with, right? So you can click on the knowledge. Again, Oracle Field Services comes with Oracle Knowledge, Fusion Knowledge out of the box. You don't have to pay anything extra. And you can ask attention Ben doesn't know how to work with this particular thing. So again, all the knowledge base articles that you basically have in your knowledge base articles from Fusion side is available. And one of the exciting features as part of 25D is you also have the Oracle Gen AI enabled for the field technician as well. So rather than them going through all these knowledge base articles and looking one after the other, or even your SOP articles,
you can actually interact with it and write a very specific question, and
it'll give you a summary.
AI generated.
Yeah, so
okay,
the Gen
great.
AI, Oracle's Gen AI gives you a summary of all these things so that
Yeah,
it really empowers your technicians rather than sort of working through reams and reams of standard operating procedures. They can sort
that's
of use
great.
this.
But then, okay, I get this now from Gen AI. However, I'm still pretty new to this organization. I want to know what my previous field technician has done, because that asset I'm looking at is, I don't know, 20 years old. And, I can see there have been issues with this before.
Yeah.
And I want to actually know what the previous technician has done. What are my options?
Yeah. So again, depending on which system that feeds field services, again, if it's coming from Oracle's supply chain or maintenance cloud, that particular maintenance history is already available
in here
in field services.
Okay.
Again, if you are using any other system other than Oracle, then through integration we can bring those information into field services. Now, that's a nice segue, Anita. I really want to talk about Oracle inventory and the assets thing, because that's
right.
one of the.
So, see, my previous colleague used a spare part,
Yeah.
and that spare part I don't have. What other options do I have, right?
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, let's go into this particular activity, right? So the first activity that you saw there was nice and plain and simple, right? So it's a simple activity. The second activity, depending on the activity type or depending on the assets that is getting dealt with, you might want to see, okay, there's a certain set of structured steps that I want my technicians to follow. So first they need to do, read an SOP document or make sure the site is secure. So you can have what is called as individual forms that you can build, and all those individual forms can be strung together into a workflow, right? So basically, you just go into this particular safety checklist and
sorry, I think we've lost screen share.
Lost the screen share.
Did you drop off altogether?
Yeah, he's gone.
Oh no, I didn't.
I think I'm still on.
You're still on? Okay, so maybe let me reconnect it.
We can reconnect.
Or I can talk to you.
Yeah, let's try and reconnect. We will probably only have 5 minutes left anyway. So it's basically sharing the inventory. So you basically can have a plugin to field services.
Correct.
Which shows you the inventory you should have in your van, the inventory you should have in the next warehouse, or what spare parts have been used for specific asset before, and what best options you have.
Yeah. So Oracle.
Get a turn for volume.
Yeah, so the Oracle Field Services comes out of the box with a few features such as Oracle Parts Order plugin and Parts Inventory. So let me just make this a bit more bigger. So again, we talked about inventory, right? So let's say your technician is carrying a certain amount of inventory or consumables or spare parts in his trunk stock, and he's running low, right? So that's where we can, using the native parts ordering functionality, we can place order. The technician can place order, right? He doesn't have to pick up the phone or call a depot or a warehouse. They can basically order parts. Again, they can order parts and pick up from a warehouse. It works directly with the Oracle procurement. So you can order parts from a supplier. The technician can receive it. Right, so that's really empowering the technician to be in charge for the trunk stock. You can also have a good view. The technician can also look at what is my inventory looks like, right? What am I carrying, right? So again, he can get a look at all these inventory that he's carrying. You can also see what the inventory that is required for this particular job. What is inventory that is, these are the two items that is already installed in the customer side. These are all these, Kelly is carrying in her trunk stock. Now that is inventory, right? You might want to know, I'm working on a specific asset, Anita. I'm looking at this particular pump or a motor. and I want to know more in terms of what has actually happened on this pump historically, or what are the notes that other technicians have put in, right? So some instructions and things like that. Again, we can take advantage of the asset details functionality. It used to be a plugin, but this is the functionality that we now get out of the box. Now that particular asset details is not quite configured, but I just want to quickly show you how it looks, right? So this is the screenshot, if you like. Again, when you go into this asset details screen for this particular asset, it gives you all the notes that is in the system against this particular asset, and also gives you all the planned maintenance work orders, all the historical work orders as well. So it really gives you in a single snapshot all the work that has happened in that asset, on that asset, or in the future sense as well. And last but not the least, before you go into Q&A, not forgetting, it also gives you the ability to capture costs. The technician can capture the cost for the particular activity. Also, any spares that you have installed, any things that you have deinstalled from the customer, you've got this debriefing functionality where you can capture all this information by the technician as well. And again, if you are part of the Oracle ecosystem, it automatically directly hits your finance system in terms of your revenue recognition flow. It's all there for you.
Time, kilometers.
That's right.
Spare parts used. Yeah, so that's the ideal world, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Al, for giving us an overview. We have 15 minutes left. I just wanted, I guess, to open up a bit more into a dialogue from here and see whether there's any questions or comments from the room. Or any questions or comments online? I actually have the first question.
Yeah,
Let's just kick off.
Yeah.
So what about, the Oracle Field Services capabilities or integration options with S3 functions and having geospatial data?
Yeah.
So I'm specifically thinking around, like layered data where you may have manholes and you need the different views of what's going on in a specific asset or location.
Yeah, I think we were having this conversation before this session, right? So the ideal situation is for us to sort of work alongside with your existing GIS, right? So we've got an existing GIS system such as S3. Then Oracle, in the last few releases, they have released a native out-of-the-box integration between S3 and Oracle Field Services, where those map and asset details can flow freely both ways within these two systems. But not everyone would be in that ideal state in terms of versioning and things like that, so that they are compatible, because there's a certain amount of compatibility in terms of versioning that needs to be in place for these integrations to work. So that's where we can work as an implementation partner, Anita. So we can work. We have been working with some of our existing utility customers where we are bringing in those individual map layers, either on an on-off basis or on an ongoing basis from Esri into Oracle Field Services, right? So we can basically utilize. We can have the same sort of experience that the technicians have got already with their existing Esri information. So you've got multiple flavors. You can either go with the out-of-the-box integration if your versions align, the stars align. If they are not quite up to date, then that's where we can basically build not so invasive options to sort of integrate these two systems together.
Yeah, sounds good. And what about various different forms, right? I know each industry, each company has different online forms they want to have for data capture or to fill out, whatever requirements there are. What's the system's flexibility to build customized online forms?
Yeah, again, you get a set of sort of standard sort of capability in terms of what you can do with this within the screen. Obviously, you can add more to that existing screens around the activity. If you want to extend and digitize some of your operational steps that happens in the field, that's where you've got a couple of options where you can build your own forms. Sort of digitize your paper forms using the forms functionality that Oracle Field Services gives. It's very easy drag and drop, low code, no code sort of approach. Or If you want to go even more extensive, you can use Oracle's native sort of plugin framework and build your own JavaScript-based plugins, which a couple of our customers are extensively using as well. So you got depending on your appetite or the level of complexity, you got options there.
Now, I actually have a question to the people in the room. I know you guys have onboarded external contractors as well. So you have a field services team, an in-house field services team, and external field services team and technicians. Is there any tips, tricks, lessons learned, any thoughts around approach? You may have to speak really loud or come a bit closer to me because the microphone of my laptop has about a 2-meter range.
Probably the biggest thing is to understand your existing architecture within both the contractor and yourself. Okay.
Okay. Understanding existing architecture of external and internal company. Yeah.
Understanding what their processes entail and what information they need out of the system.
So from their end, because the contractor probably has multiple customers, so they would all be set in what they need, right? So aligning on the business processes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, just the training and engagement.
Yeah. Which I think you guys have done an absolutely fabulous job in it. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, very good. What about thoughts around rollout approach, right? So we've been having those debates with one of our previous customers, which was, you know, Big Bang is the only option and preferred option forward versus a phased approach. From a partner, I think there's pros and cons to both options. If you go Big Bang, you know, of course, you shorten the overall time frame and probably the overall cost because, you know, you can roll off the consulting team faster and the project is kind of ticked off, but it also comes, I think, with increased risk. There's also benefits in a phased rollout approach, right, where you know, you can kind of test and improve and expand the functionality as you roll it out to further business functions. Is there a point of view around, you know, how you did it?
Look, I think it's really based off your organisation's maturity.
Yeah.
All right. Our particular organisation and our contractors weren't very mature in the auto routing space and the scheduling space. So they weren't familiar with the tool. They're understanding how they would like to do their allocation of activities.
Yeah.
And how they wanted to build those rules into the system. By taking a slower phased approach to implementation, it allows us to learn from the contractors what their needs are, their resources and their upskilling, but also from the perspective of do you have the data for the decisions that the routing engine needs to make those decisions adequately?
Yeah. So just checking in, can the people online hear or lift it? I'm not sure if I need to repeat or... Yeah, thumbs up. That's great.
Thumbs up,
Perfect. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, so in a nutshell, it's the maturity of, you know, of the organization, maturity of understanding the business processes and whatnot. So the smaller rollout approach is definitely the safer approach, yeah. And then aligning the processes. And did you... So retrospectively now looking, did you have to adapt the business processes a lot to meet the out-of-the-box how field services work, or was field services more configured to meet your requirements, or was it a bit of both?
It's a bit of both.
Yeah.
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 There's a level of standardization that needs to occur, especially with our particular example where we have multiple organizations. Where we have to standardize the processes around different business trends in order to support the system in the long term. And that itself is a change engagement piece to drive that approach.
That's it, yeah.
And then obviously getting the benefit and realization of everybody's different processes and their optimization from their process.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's so, yeah. We've just done a technology review for a different organization, and that was one of the key challenges is the, you know, the understanding of the business processes and what the tool is meant to do, right? Because the tool can do anything. Well, most of the, you can, you know, customize everything into a tool, but it's like, you know, what's the practical approach? How well does an organization understand the core capabilities of a product? and how well, can the business either adapt or meet in the middle to leverage the out of the box best practice processes and make it work for the business you're in. So I think it needs to be going a bit both ways with a product owner and a business process owner.
And can I just add
Sure.
to your earlier question? So
Yeah.
in terms of the rollout itself, the power of the Oracle Fusion platform, again, we've got customers in the room who can vouch for this as well. The power of Oracle Fusion Field Services platform is that it's really a product that can realize quick time to value. What it means is you can really go live within a matter of few months, right? 3 to 4 months is your typical.
We've done it.
We have done it. It's your typical
3.5 months.
Yeah, you can go big bang, sort of sitting and sort of doing it for a year.
Yeah.
Or you can have your MVP go live in 3 to 4 months, realize that benefit, and then slowly, just like one of our customers in the room has done, where we can roll out features, advanced features on an ongoing basis, as routing, forecasting, capacity and quota management. All those things can come in time, but the real thing is to sort of enable your field service technicians to be a lot more digital by what out of the box features that you get with field services in a matter of 3 to 4 months.
No, perfect. That's great. And one of the things which keep coming up as well is the people change management. So there's the business processes, and as an organization knowing how we're going to run this team moving forward. But the second aspect, the people, which get given this device and say from Monday onwards, that's how we expect you to use it, right? And we just had the comment before, the oldest employee of a bespoke company didn't even have a mobile phone before, and suddenly he's expected to use, to check in and check off and click off and send beautiful images from assets and animals in between. So any tips around how you can get your most resistant employee on the journey with you? How did you guys do that?
Look, I'd have to say, focus on your workflows, focus on the streamlining of your workflows, the standardization of those, and then your training material. These particular resources, we did in-field training with them.
In-field training. So you'd had them buddied up with someone from the office, right, who knows the tool and shows them how to use the tool.
Correct.
On the job. Amazing.
Yeah. And try not to introduce too many changes into that workflow once they're trained.
Yeah. So yeah. No, that's great. We have 4 minutes left. There's a few people dropped off, I see. Any other comments, questions from the room or online?
While we wait for the questions, I can quickly talk about some of the new features.
Yeah.
No, it's just me saying, please ask her any questions.
Oh yeah, very good.
Okay, Fred is typing something. So while Fred is asking his question, so again, because today's session is really an appetizer and it's really a high-level overview. Well, again, if there's any further topics that you guys want to sort of drill down, we can have those individual sessions, tailored for your requirements. But what we are excited about the Oracle sort of SaaS platform in general and Fusion Field Services, every 3 months you get new features, and some of the new features gets progressively gotten better with every 3-month quarter release. And what we are seeing here is a lot more tighter integration between the Oracle Fusion platform and field services, right? So negating the need for something like Oracle Integration Cloud, it works. Again, we are working with a prospect who's implementing Oracle projects, inventory, assets management, subscription, the whole CX and supply chain, and field services works with all these modules out of the box directly. So that's one of the features that we are really excited about, where you don't have to invest in a middleware if you are already on an Oracle ecosystem. If you are not in an Oracle ecosystem, then we probably have to use something like a OIC or other middlewares to connect to your CRM system or with your enterprise asset system. The other thing we are also seeing in the sort of the newest releases is there's a lot more mobility focus, where even though we've got iOS apps and Android apps. The last 2-3 releases, they support Android Autoplay and Apple CarPlay, and the technicians, without touching their phone too much while in the car, can start their activity or get get notes about the activity, previous history, everything read out to them.
Text
So
to voice,
yeah,
so it makes it also easier.
so it makes it really efficient in terms of the admin time that can be reduced for the technicians.
Any last remarks, tips from the people with experience with Oracle and with Kite? Watch the support. Watch the support, yes. All right, well, that's almost up to the hour. I know most people already dropped off. Thank you so much for everyone joined. This is a recorded meeting. I know some people could not attend today, so we will share with them in private. Any questions and whatnot, you know where to find us. Thank you very much and have a good afternoon.